Okay, so let me go ahead and share. So as I mentioned, we have 3 different ways to pronounce the ED on for regular verbs that in the past we had ED. Okay, the easiest one to remember will be the ones that end in T or in D, because all you do is, well, actually, this is the way we pronounce all the words when it's not the correct form. These are the only ones that we're going to sound the ED at the end. Okay, but notice that it's not an ed sound, it's more like an id. Wanted, needed. Okay, so only the words that end with a T or a D will have this pronunciation. The rest will either have a T or a D sound. Okay, so let's explain how we know when to use which sound. We already mentioned T and D are the only ones that have the id sound. Those are the easiest to remember. Then we continue with the rest of the letters. For example, the words that end with P, K, F, GH, SH, CH, double S, C, or X will have a T sound. Okay, listen here. Help, instead of saying helped, the ED will sound like a T. So the pronunciation is helped, helped. Notice that I don't say helped. Okay, this is very important. The correct pronunciation is helped. The next one, looked, looked. Notice that I have the K and the T, looked. Okay, not looked. Be careful with those. When the word ends with F, sniffed. GH, laughed. SH, washed. CH, watched. Double S, kissed. Kissed. C, danced. And X, fixed. So when you have a word that ends with this letter or this combination of letters, the sound is going to be T. Okay? And the other ones, L, N, R, G, V, S, Z, B, or M are going to sound like D. Okay, listen to the words. Called. Notice I didn't say called. D. Called. With these letters, just imagine that you take out the E. Called. Cleaned. Offered. D. Damaged. Loved. Used. Amazed. Rubbed. Claimed. Do you hear the difference between the T and the D?
Yes.
Okay, so how am I going to know? The only way to know is using this chart. And like any other list, for example, the irregular verbs, the only way to memorize them is with practice. So if you use this chart, with time, you won't have to look if it's P, K, N. You will know which is the correct sound or the correct pronunciation. Okay? Now, if you notice, all of these are consonants. So what happens to the vowel sounds? Okay, the rule says that any word that ends with a vowel sound, this is very important, with a vowel sound, okay, not with a vowel, because it's not very common for words to end with a vowel, but we do have words with vowel ending with vowel sounds. For example, let's think of a word that ends with the A sound. Look at the example here, play. Play ends with a Y, but the sound that you hear at the end is A, play. Okay, so the rule says all of the words that end with a vowel sound will have a D sound. So the word is played. We played in the park, not played. The pronunciation is played. Okay, a word with the E sound. For example, enjoy. Enjoy, E. The last sound is the E sound. Once again, we don't say enjoyed, we say enjoyed. Oid. Okay, so you have the O-E-D, enjoyed. Okay, then we have the I sound, as in try. I don't say try it, I say tried. Tried. Continue, the last sound that you hear is U, continue. Okay, so we have the U sound. So once again, it has to sound like D. Continued, not continued. Continued. And the last one, and this is a very common combination when we have an O and a W. Even though the last letter is the W, the sound is O. Follow. Okay, follow. So in this case, the sound is D because the sound is O. So the sound has to be D. Followed. Once again, followed, enjoyed, played, tried, and continued. Okay, so guys, I don't know if this the explanation was clear as to when to use which sound.
Yes, but for example, select is like the first one.
Select, what is the last sound in select? It's a T, right? So the sound is selected. It.
Okay.
So all of the words that end with a T or a D, you use the id sound. Now, be very careful because, for example, invite ends with an E, but what is the last sound, Leslie?
Invite T.
The T, right? So that in that case, it also applies. Invited, right? Because the last sound that you hear is the T sound, invite.
Teacher, about the word develop, is develop or developed?
Okay, what is the last sound in develop?
Is D.
Develop, right? The last sound
P.
is the P.
Yeah,
So
P.
the instructions say that when the word ends with a P, the sound has to be a T. So he developed, not
Okay.
developed. Okay, it's a T sound.
But
Developed.
the first is develop, not develop. Develop. Developed.
Yes, the word when it's in the present form, develop. But when you put it in the past, Valente, with ed, that's when you change it to developed.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?
Then the sound is ide, no ede.
Exactly. And it's like with your throat, id, wanted, needed. Okay.
Okay.